I like that. That's a weird, kind of foreboding note to end on, I would say. Welcome back to Low End University. So right as I'm closing in on reviewing the early Propagandhi albums, I think our Patreon community is really curious to hear what I think of former Propagandhi bassist John K. Samson's career post-Propagandhi regarding a subsequent band, the WEAKERTHANS, which apparently was formed as a collective and a vehicle for a more melodic and introspective brand of songwriting compared to each member's previous projects. Either way, our patrons voted the band's track Plea From a Cat Named Virtute into second place last month, which is from the band's third studio album, Reconstruction Site, released in 2003. And while I'm not sure what to expect musically, it appears that the track is a bit somber lyrically, written from the perspective of a depressed person's cat. Without further ado, let's check out the WEAKERTHANS.
Why don't you ever wanna play? I'm tired of this piece of string. You sleep as much as I do now, and you don't eat much of anything.
Okay, I think I've only heard one track where John K. Samson was playing bass from Less Talk, More Rock. I'm getting into that era of the band. And again, this obviously sounds nothing like Propagandhi, but he's playing vocals and guitar. He's the lead vocalist and the guitarist. And the bass player here, I think, is John P. Sutton, if the dates are right, when he left the band a year after this album released. So, I mean, yeah, this isn't super technical, but I really like this style. I mean, there's a lot of bands I've reviewed that fall into this category musically. Some nice guitar work happening, and the lyrics are already kind of grabbing me. I was very curious to read them this time from the angle of a depressed person's cat. So you get this really interesting third-person point of view on a human, but through the lens of a cat that doesn't understand maybe the depth of those types of situations. And it's just seeing that the cat's owner is a bit not his or her usual self kind of thing, and just kind of observing it as it is. So I found that to be a really interesting lyrical angle. You don't read songs from that angle often. Let's go back to the beginning. I think they're flatting the 7 here, giving it this sort of A-flat mixolydian thing. So that chord sounds a little out to me.
Why don't you ever wanna play? I'm tired
Sounds like just jazz bass or something. 8th notes.
of this piece of string.
Piece of string.
You sleep as much as I do now, and you don't eat much of anything. I don't know who you're talking to. I made a search through every room, but all I found was dust that moved, shadows of the afternoon. And listen, like those bitter songs you sing.
I like how the vocals are so up front. They're kind of right here, that warm blanket type of vocal production. And it jumps into this whole other thing effects-wise. Listen to the production on the vocals here.
Through every room.
Nice and warm, right next, sitting on your shoulder. Then it really opens up into this layered, reverby, wet thing right here.
Like those bitter songs you sing.
And it's almost like that guitar lead comes in and is more center stage now. You hear that little single note. I think it's guitar, but either way, I like that it's duetting with the vocals a bit. Let's go right into that chorus.
And listen, like those bitter songs you sing. They're not helping anything. They won't make you strong.
That nice major 7 clash there. Chords on, let's say, D flat. Vocals go to the C. So you get that beautiful tension, kind of leading tone there. Right here.
So we should open up the house, invite the tabby 2 doors down.
Invite the tabby 2 doors down.
You could ask your sister if she doesn't bring her basset hound. Ask the things you shouldn't miss. tape hiss in the modern man, Cold War and card catalogs to come and join us if they can. For girly drinks and parlor games, we'll pass around the easy life.
Neat little songwriting thing there that didn't happen in the previous verse. It got intense for a second. Sound like a 3-3-3-3-2-2 kind of thing. Just some syncopation. You'll notice that layer of the guitars came in, kind of faked you out that it was going to like explode there, right here.
Come and join us if they can. For girly drinks and parlor games, we'll pass
Pretty cool.
around the easy life of absolute.
So bass is just here hugging the roots. 1, 4, 5, A flat, D flat, E flat. But they had that B flat minor in there earlier. So I'm all kind of turned around as to actually what key it might be. And I think it's actually in simple math sucks today in my head. It's a Monday. All right, I'm going to go back and figure that out. But let's keep going.
To come and join us if they can. For girly
Yeah.
drinks and parlor games, we'll pass around the easy life of absolutely no regrets. And later maybe you could try to let your losses dangle off the sharp edge.
I think it's actually in the key of D flat because we have that F sharp in there. They threw in the intro. So we're playing around like A flat's the root. That flat 7 is Mixolydian, puts it in D flat, which is where that B flat minor comes from. So, you know, there's songs that are just smooth and clever like this. You know, you can start at any point in the scale degree and make the listener think it's the 1 when it really isn't. So when you pivot to some other chord, it kind of goes, whoa, it's a different flavor, and you just don't really see it coming, which was me with that B flat. So it's really down here in D flat, but they're kind of pretending and they're making you think the 5 is the 1. So it's really kind of like A flat. It's kind of like 5, 2, 1 in a way, but it's also a little ambiguous, and it could be the thing where they're just straddling two different keys that differ by one note in the key signature. It doesn't really give you all the data. It doesn't really matter. I'm just really calling attention to the good songwriting there to use chords outside of the 3 or 4 they keep repeating as really strong tension, and maybe you would call them pivot chords if they really are changing keys. I don't know. I like this though.
Let your losses dangle off the sharp edge of a century. Talk about the weather or how the weather used to be. And I'll cater with all the birds that I can kill. Let their tiny feathers fill.
That chord's what I'm talking about. So yeah, that would kind of put that as the 6th chord, the relative minor if we're in D flat major. Could be the case. This stuff's fun to figure out for me. Right here.
Let their tiny feathers fill. Disappointment, lie down and lick the sorrow from your skin. Scratch the tear and begin to believe you're strong.
Yeah, there's that flat 7 again. I call it the G flat major. Yeah. So they don't use that chord often. I haven't really heard it since the intro. So that's what I mean when they just go around 3 or 4 chords over and over, throw in the B flat maybe on the chorus. This G flat comes in kind of sans vocals, almost like the bridge or maybe the intro riff or chord progression, if you will. So when those chords come in, they're really powerful. Right here. Nope. Next chord.
All you ever
Okay.
wanna do is drink and watch TV.
Yeah. Now they give you the hint that it really is in D flat, because it wouldn't make sense to really go up to the 4 chord like that. But it uses that B flat minor in context, kind of walks it back up 5, 6, 7, 1. So you can kind of hear that in action there. It's kind of a dead giveaway to me. Let's see. Right here. 6, 7. That's the one. Okay, yeah, this last stanza I remember. The whole song is like, tired of the same piece of string. I don't understand what's gotten into you. I see that you're sad. Hey, let's bring the tabby over. Don't bring the basset hound. Maybe we can make girly drink, something, something, something. And the last stanza kind of ends on a rather somber note. You're drinking too much. You're watching TV. Frankly, that stuff doesn't interest me. I can't wait to bite you. Something about tinny blood. I read it right before I started. I don't have them pulled up here, but that's a weird kind of foreboding note to end on, I would say. And you can hear the entire character of the song change here, production-wise. See where this goes. Ooh. New chords. I swear I'm gonna bite you hard and taste your tinny blood. I like that. If you don't stop the self-defeating lies you've been repeating since the day you brought me home, I know you're strong. That's the note I've been trying to figure out the whole song. It's sort of like the two notes in the guitar thing I talk about all the time where and the chords change under it and it recontextualizes a different part or chord tone within the new progression or new chord. It's this thing right here because they've been going and then so it kind of changes where it fits into the scale every time the chord changes under it. But we got really colorful here for a minute. I love the entrance of this key part, which leads me to believe some of those sounds I was hearing earlier were maybe key or synth layers. Nonetheless, I like that the whole character of the song is, I'd say the lyrics are a bit more melancholy than maybe the music. It's been very kind of 1-4-5, even though I identified it's not. Nonetheless, a lot of major chords, kind of indie rock thing, right? Lyrics were a little neutral, sad, and then the whole character changes here with just vocals, that still type of dreamy production on them, and piano under it, walking down chromatically, lots of diminished stuff. I got to go back and dissect that because it really contrasts everything we've heard, and that might be sort of the pinnacle of the song, I suppose, which is highlighted by that last verse getting really dark really quickly. Okay. Right after they give away that it's in D flat. Okay, I think it goes to F. Yeah. I swear I'm gonna bite you hard and taste your tinny blood. If you don't stop the self-defeating lies you've been repeating since the day great.
You brought me home.
Yeah, taste of tinny blood. I'm not even listening to the lyrics. Beautiful stuff here. Not to get too down the rabbit hole of what's going on here. I talk about this a lot because this theme shows up a lot. Like inversions, going down chromatically. It's kind of like the black hole sun example I always show. Gives it that falling motion, a little tense, but it's really just using some inversions and blah, blah, blah. I like here that it goes to F, which is the 3 chord. They haven't given us that chord yet at all. 3 chord in D flat major, which is naturally minor. So maybe we're not changing keys a ton. We're just adding a lot of new flavor in there. So we have this sort of and then we do the 1, diminish. Yeah, up to the minor there. Let's see if I can play along with it. Love this. Okay. All you ever want to do is drink and watch TV. Up to F. Frankly, that thing doesn't really interest me. Oop. I swear I'm gonna bite you hard and taste your tinny blood. If you don't stop the self-defeating lies you've been And then it goes back up to F, walks it back down chromatically.
If you don't stop the self-defeating lies you've been repeating since the day you brought me home.
Just back to the 1.
I know you're strong.
But they make you think that's the 1. Now we're building it back up. It kind of reminds me of the Fray a little bit. I had a guilty pleasure for that band for many years. I feel like the tempo's a little faster. That was a nice song with some really clever things. You know, nothing to talk about in the bass department, but that's okay. I'm always down to dissect a really good song, well written. I like the storyboarding of this one particularly. Everything came into view once the song kind of did the change up on you. Got really dark. Lyrically, I remember reading the lyrics before hearing any of the music and going, that last stanza is very different from everything else I've read. Well, so was the music. So I love when those two work in tandem to really drive home a message or narrative. And it was written from a really unique perspective about a pet seeing the owner in distress, but not really understanding the nuances of maybe depression, just offering simple solutions. Let's bring the cat over. Let's do the simple thing you always do. You're doing this thing that doesn't interest me. So a really creative approach to maybe outline depression as seen from someone you might not know is watching. But the Weakerthans, you know, I really like stuff like this, even though it's not super conducive to a baseline analysis. But I'm kind of glad I heard this before getting into his era of propaganda, because I've got 3 albums left to hear from the band: How to Clean Everything, Less Talk More Rock, and today's Empire's Tomorrow's Ashes. I've heard everything else, and it's all over on Patreon. I've done a full album breakdown and analysis of each of their albums. If you want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. You can come check them out. I'm going to get to the rest of the albums so I can hear his bass work in that band. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. Thanks again to our patrons for voting this track in. They really wanted me to hear it, and I really liked what I heard. Once again, come find us on Patreon, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you can do that now. Click the like button. It really helps the channel out. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one.